Around the age of 50, many people experience a shift. The jar lid that once opened effortlessly now demands a struggle. Stairs feel steeper, and a bag of groceries feels heavier than usual. These changes aren't a sign of illness. They're simply your body adapting to age-related muscle loss. This is a natural process for most people unless you actively work against it. Fortunately, your diet can play a role in supporting your strength as you age. Today, we'll explore 15 simple drinks that can help you maintain your strength. If you find this practical and straightforward health advice helpful, consider subscribing so you don't miss future content. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This video provides general nutrition information only and is not medical advice. If you have a health condition, are taking medication, or are unsure if a change like this is suitable for you, consult your doctor or a registered dietitian first. Now, let's get into the science. Starting around your 30s, your body gradually loses muscle, and this loss accelerates after 60. Two key factors can help slow this process: protein, particularly leucine, an amino acid that signals muscle repair and rebuilding, and movement. Movement, especially anything that involves pushing or pulling against resistance like carrying groceries, is crucial. While drinks can provide leucine and other nutrients needed for muscle repair, they can't perform the work themselves. Think of these 15 drinks as raw materials delivered to a job site, but someone still needs to pick up the tools. We'll move through 15 drinks in 3 groups. First, we'll have protein-forward shakes to build your muscles. Then, we'll have juices to support blood flow and recovery after exercise. Finally, we'll have a handful of simpler drinks to round things out in smaller but still useful ways. Some of these you'll recognize, and a couple might surprise you. Item 1. Whey Protein Shake. Whey protein is one of the fastest digesting protein sources available, and this speed is crucial. It quickly delivers leucine into your bloodstream after exercise, precisely when your muscles are primed for repair. Leucine functions almost like a switch, prompting your muscle fibers to begin the repair process rather than simply remaining worn out. To make this one, blend a scoop of whey protein isolate or concentrate, roughly 25 to 30 grams, with a cup of milk or water, half a banana, and a few ice cubes. Just 30 seconds in the blender and you're done. This works best within an hour or two of anything that challenges your muscles. That could mean an actual workout if that's part of your routine, but just as easily, a longer walk, a session of yard work, or even a flight of stairs that left you a little winded. It's also just a simple way to catch up on protein on a day when your meals fell short. Here's the honest truth. Whey is derived from milk, so anyone with a dairy allergy should avoid this product entirely. For those with lactose intolerance, whey isolate is often well tolerated because most of the lactose is filtered out during processing. However, concentrate retains a bit more, so it's worth checking the label before assuming it's suitable for you. Furthermore, even a perfectly timed shake won't build muscle on its own. The resistance side of the equation is still necessary, even if it's something as simple as a few wall push-ups for leucine to actually work. Item 2. Plant-based protein smoothie. Not everyone enjoys or tolerates dairy, but that doesn't mean you have to miss out on the muscle-building benefits of whey. Pea and rice protein, often combined in products like Garden of Life or OWYN, work together to provide a complete protein. This means they contain all the essential amino acids your body can't produce on its own. Blend 1 scoop with a cup of unsweetened almond or oat milk, a handful of fresh spinach, and a tablespoon of almond butter for a creamier texture and a bit of extra fat to help you feel full longer. The spinach barely changes the flavor, but it's an easy way to sneak some extra nutrients into a drink that doesn't taste anything like a vegetable. This makes a solid morning option, especially if you tend to skip breakfast and end up well behind on protein by dinner time. Here's the honest truth. Plant proteins sometimes offer less leucine per scoop compared to whey. Therefore, it's important to check the label for at least 20 to 25 grams of protein per serving to maintain an effective range. And while we're at it, let's retire a common myth. The notion that paying close attention to protein intake is solely for young athletes striving for visible muscle. If your goal is to preserve your strength as you age, you're facing the same biological challenges but with a different objective. Ultimately, your body doesn't differentiate between the reasons behind your protein consumption. Item 3. Tart Cherry Recovery Drink. After a longer walk or a gardening session, you know the feeling the next morning. Your legs are a bit tender, and getting out of bed takes a little extra effort. Tart cherry juice, particularly the Montmorency variety, is rich in plant compounds that act as antioxidants, and several studies link them to less muscle soreness and somewhat faster strength recovery after a hard day. Not every study agrees on this, and the effect tends to be modest rather than dramatic, so it's best to think of it as a helpful extra rather than a guaranteed fix. To make it, mix 2 ounces of tart cherry concentrate with 8 ounces of cold water, or just pour yourself an 8-ounce glass of unsweetened tart cherry juice if concentrate isn't available where you shop. Drink it in the evening after a physically demanding day, or split the dose between morning and evening if soreness is still hanging around the next day too. It won't numb pain the way medication does, and it's not a replacement for rest, no matter how convenient that would be. Another thing to consider is that tart cherry juice may have a mild effect on blood clotting at higher doses. If you're on blood-thinning medication, it's wise to discuss this with your doctor before making it a daily habit. For most people, though, a glass a few times a week, especially after a sore day, is perfectly acceptable. Item 4. Kefir smoothie. Kefir serves a dual purpose, making it a valuable addition to your fridge. As a fermented milk drink, it provides a substantial protein content, usually 9 to 11 grams per cup, along with live bacterial cultures that support gut health. This latter benefit is more significant than you might realize. A well-functioning gut absorbs nutrients, including the protein you're consuming, more efficiently than an unhealthy one. Pour a cup of plain kefir into a blender with a handful of frozen berries and a teaspoon of honey. If you like it sweeter, then blend for about 30 seconds until it's smooth. Drink it right away, since kefir tends to separate if it sits too long on the counter, and honestly, it just tastes better fresh. Morning suits this one particularly well, partly because the live cultures seem to do more good on a relatively empty stomach before other food shows up and competes for attention. If kefir is new to you, start with half a cup rather than a full one. This is because fermentation can cause mild bloating in those whose digestive systems aren't accustomed to it. Build up gradually over a week or two, and any discomfort tends to fade as your gut adjusts. When shopping for it, plain and unsweetened is preferable to flavored versions. These often contain far more added sugar than the live cultures actually provide. Item 5. Greek yogurt protein shake. Blend 2 cups of plain non-fat or low-fat Greek yogurt, a cup of milk, and 2 tablespoons of natural peanut butter until smooth. This thick and filling drink is just as satisfying as a meal or a snack. Greek yogurt distinguishes itself from regular yogurt through its straining process. This process removes much of the liquid whey, resulting in a more concentrated protein and calcium content. Typically, this means 15 to 20 grams of protein per cup, compared to around 8 to 10 in regular yogurt. Calcium is particularly important here, as strong bones support the muscles attached to them, and both tend to decline together as we age rather than separately. Greek yogurt is a great midday snack or a late afternoon pick-me-up. It's easy to enjoy between meals and after a midday walk. The straining process boosts the protein content while also removing some lactose. This makes it a good option for those with mild dairy sensitivities, though individual tolerance can vary. It's not a guarantee if you've had real trouble with dairy in the past. If peanut butter isn't your thing, almond butter or a spoonful of honey work just as well for flavor without changing the protein much. This is also one of the easier drinks on this list to make ahead and keep in the fridge for a day or two, ready whenever you need it. Item 6. Bone broth. Bone broth has earned a reputation as a joint and muscle drink, mostly thanks to its collagen content, but it's worth being clear about what that actually means before you assume it works like a supplement. Homemade or store-bought bone broth does contain some collagen and gelatin, along with a modest amount of protein, usually 6 to 10 grams per cup, but the amount varies quite a bit from batch to batch and brand to brand, and it generally falls short of the doses used in the research that's shown real strength and joint benefits in older adults. That research usually involved purified, measured collagen peptide supplements rather than broth simmered at home or purchased from a shop. That doesn't make bone broth useless though. It's warm, it's easy to digest even when your appetite is low, and it contributes some protein and minerals as part of a broader diet, which is a perfectly reasonable role for it to play. Heat 2 cups gently on the stove, season with a little salt and a squeeze of lemon, and sip it warm from a mug the way you might drink tea. It works especially well in the evening, or any time something savory and comforting sounds better than something sweet. Think of bone broth as a gentle, supportive component of your overall protein intake rather than a concentrated treatment for your joints or muscles alone. If collagen is your specific goal, a measured collagen peptide supplement has more research backing its effectiveness for that purpose. Item 7. Fortified milk. Plain milk doesn't require a complicated recipe, which might explain its omission from lists like this one. A cup of skim or whole milk provides approximately 8 grams of protein, along with a natural blend of carbohydrates, calcium, and, in fortified versions, vitamin D. This combination has been specifically studied for its role in recovery after physical activity. Drink it cold, straight from the glass, within an hour or so of anything physically demanding, or just have it alongside a meal on days when timing isn't really the point. Whole milk carries more calories and fat than skim, which can help if you're trying to maintain or gain weight alongside strength. While skim suits anyone watching their calorie intake a bit more closely without giving up the protein and calcium, lactose, the natural sugar in milk, can cause digestive discomfort for many adults. This discomfort often worsens with age as lactase production naturally declines. Lactose-free milk offers the same protein and nutrients without the discomfort. Fortified plant milk is also a reasonable alternative, provided the label confirms it's been fortified with calcium and vitamin D, rather than relying solely on the base ingredient. There's no need to complicate something that's been a reliable option in refrigerators for generations. Sometimes, the simplest choice is also the most dependable. Item 8. Meal replacement shake. Sometimes measuring out scoops and blending ingredients isn't realistic. That's where products like Ensure Plus or Orgain Organic Protein come in. These pre-mixed shakes usually contain 15 to 20 grams of protein, along with a variety of vitamins, minerals, and calories in a single bottle. No preparation is needed beyond opening and pouring a glass if you prefer not to drink directly from the container. These are particularly useful on days when your appetite is low, during recovery from illness or surgery when cooking feels overwhelming, or on rushed mornings when a proper breakfast seems impossible. Having a few in the fridge or pantry ensures you always have one on hand when you need it, rather than waiting for the rare moment when you have time to plan ahead. Reading labels carefully matters more with these than with most drinks on this list, since formulas vary widely in added sugar and overall calorie count from one brand to the next, and the marketing rarely makes those differences obvious. What suits someone trying to gain weight back after illness might not suit someone managing diabetes or watching their weight closely, so the right choice really depends on you and your own situation, not just the promises on the front of the label. Those who persist with any of this longest aren't fixated on perfect numbers. They simply maintain a consistent, simple habit, most days without overthinking it. Item 9. Pomegranate juice. Pomegranate juice, deep red and slightly tart, is rich in antioxidant compounds called punicalagins. Research suggests these compounds may reduce inflammation and support joint health. Joints are the connective tissue that allows your muscles to function without pain. While some studies indicate pomegranate juice speeds up muscle recovery after exercise, the evidence is mixed. A few studies show a real benefit for strength recovery, while others show none. Therefore, pomegranate juice is a generally healthy addition to your routine rather than a guaranteed recovery tool. Pour 4 to 6 ounces of unsweetened pomegranate juice over ice or mix it half and half with sparkling water for a lighter version that still delivers the same compounds. It pairs naturally with an evening wind down rather than a first thing in the morning drink. Pomegranate juice is quite high in natural sugar for its volume, even without any added sugar. So, if you're monitoring your blood sugar, it's best to treat it as an occasional drink a few times a week, rather than a daily habit, and stick to the smaller serving size. Also, watering it down further won't significantly reduce its antioxidant content. There's no real downside to making it milder to suit your taste. Item 10. Beetroot juice. Beetroot juice's earthy flavor can deter some people initially, but its positive impact on blood flow is well supported, especially in older adults. This is unlike many other purported muscle drinks circulating online. Beets are naturally rich in dietary nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide. This compound relaxes and widens blood vessels, allowing more oxygen and nutrients to reach working muscles when they need them most. Research, specifically involving adults over 60, has demonstrated measurable improvements in blood flow and, in some studies, muscle force during exercise. This is a more relevant finding than research conducted solely on young and already fit athletes. For the clearest effect, drink 4 to 6 ounces of beetroot juice about 2 to 3 hours before your activity. This is roughly how long it takes the nitrates to convert and circulate through your system. Some people notice their urine or stool takes on a reddish tint after drinking beet juice, which is completely harmless and simply the natural pigment passing through. If you have a history of kidney stones, consult your doctor before making beet juice a regular thing. Beets are high in oxalates, a compound linked to certain types of stones in people prone to them. Starting with a smaller 2-ounce serving and gradually increasing, it also helps if the taste or the adjustment feels too much at first. Beetroot and pomegranate share that same deep red color. And as it turns out, the next drink on this list leans on a similar plant pathway for a completely different purpose. Item 11. Watermelon juice. Watermelon juice's muscle-boosting benefits stem from an amino acid most people haven't heard of, L-citrulline. Your body converts it into a compound that widens blood vessels, similarly to beetroot but via a slightly different pathway. Several controlled studies have shown that drinking watermelon juice before exercise significantly reduces muscle soreness the day or two afterwards. While this doesn't necessarily enhance performance during the activity itself, it's important to remember this so expectations remain realistic. Blend 2 cups of cubed watermelon with a splash of lime juice and a few fresh mint leaves, then strain through a fine sieve if you prefer it smooth, though the pulp itself is perfectly fine to drink. Have it about an hour before activity for the clearest soreness-reducing effect, or just enjoy it afterward as a hydrating, naturally sweet finish to a warm afternoon outdoors. Watermelon is mostly water and natural sugar by weight, so while it's refreshing and useful around physical activity, don't mistake it for a significant protein or muscle-building source the way whey or Greek yogurt are. Pair it with one of the protein drinks from earlier on this list rather than treating it as a replacement for them, and you get the soreness support without giving up what your muscles still need from elsewhere. One small tip: a ripe watermelon, heavy for its size with a deep yellow spot where it sat on the ground, tends to make the sweetest juice. Item 12. Fresh orange juice. While vitamin C often gets overlooked in muscle conversations, it plays a crucial supporting role. Your body needs it to build collagen, the structural protein that holds muscles, tendons, and connective tissue together under load. Fresh orange juice provides this vitamin C along with natural sugars to replenish some energy used during exercise. To maximize vitamin C absorption, squeeze 3 to 4 oranges by hand or use a juicer if you have one. Drink the juice within a few minutes of squeezing as it degrades quickly when exposed to air and light. A small glass after a morning walk or alongside breakfast on any day provides a substantial portion of your daily vitamin C requirement. Store-bought juice is also a good option, provided the label states it's not from concentrate and lists no added sugar. Surprisingly, many brands add more sugar than you'd expect from a pure fruit juice. If you're managing blood sugar, treat orange juice the way you treat any fruit juice. Useful in moderation, but easy to overdo if you pour it freely without measuring, since juice concentrates the sugar from several pieces of fruit into one small glass. Item 13. Coconut water. After a sweaty afternoon outdoors, plain water might not be enough. Coconut water fills that specific gap perfectly. It naturally contains potassium and magnesium, minerals your muscles lose through sweat, and essential for proper contraction and relaxation. Plus, it avoids the added sugar found in most commercial sports drinks. A single serving of roughly 12 ounces replaces a significant portion of fluids lost during an hour of outdoor activity or yard work in warm weather. It also omits the dyes and artificial flavorings commonly found in many bottled sports drinks. Drink it straight from the container, chilled, either during activity or right after, rather than saving it for hours later once the moment your body actually needed it has passed. Coconut water is naturally lower in sodium than traditional sports drinks, which is good news if you're watching your sodium intake, but it does mean it's not a complete replacement during very long or intense sweating sessions, when sodium loss becomes significant enough to matter too. For a typical walk, a gardening session, or general daily activity, this coconut water covers the essentials without any extra ingredients. Look for varieties labeled 100% coconut water with no added sugar. Some brands sweeten it more than you'd expect from a natural fruit-based drink. Coconut water works fast, replacing what activity takes out within the hour. But the next drink on this list works on a much slower clock. Item 14. Green tea. Green tea offers a unique approach to muscle health compared to other options on this list. It doesn't work through protein or blood flow, but rather by reducing oxidative stress in muscle tissue. This stress builds up with age and physical activity. Research on older adults, particularly when combined with light, regular exercise, has demonstrated measurable support for muscle function over months rather than days. Catechins, particularly EGCG, are key compounds in this process. Steep 1 tea bag or a teaspoon of loose green tea in hot, not boiling water for 2 to 3 minutes. Since boiling water makes the tea taste bitter and can break down some of the beneficial compounds you're drinking it for in the first place, drink 1 to 2 cups a day whenever suits your routine. Though if you're sensitive to caffeine, you'll want to keep it earlier in the day rather than right before bed. This is a slow, cumulative benefit rather than something you'll feel right after 1 cup, which makes it more useful as a daily habit folded into your existing routine than as an occasional drink you reach for only when you're sore. Decaffeinated green tea keeps most of the catechin content while removing the sleep concern entirely, which makes it a reasonable swap if caffeine doesn't agree with you, but you're still interested in the slower acting benefits over time. Item 15. Lemon water. We're closing with the simplest drink on this whole list because sometimes the most useful habit is also the easiest one to keep up. Lemon water doesn't directly build muscle, but it supports 2 things that make everything else on this list work better. Hydration, since even mild dehydration measurably reduces muscle performance and slows recovery and digestion. Since lemon's acidity can help some people's stomachs break down protein more comfortably after a meal or a shake. Start your day by squeezing half a lemon into a full glass of water. Warm or cold is your choice. This simple habit sets the tone for the day before coffee or anything else. It requires no complicated effort, no blending or measuring, just a knife and a glass. If you suffer from acid reflux or sensitive tooth enamel, rinse your mouth with plain water afterwards. This simple habit helps protect both your enamel and your stomach lining from the acidity that builds up daily. Beyond this one caution, it's one of the lowest risk habits on this list. This makes it a great daily anchor. Small enough that skipping it rarely feels like an option on a normal morning. Pair it with your chosen protein drink from earlier, and you've covered more ground than either alone. Look back over this whole list, and the ingredients couldn't be more different. Whey and watermelon, beetroot and bone broth, green tea and Greek yogurt, but every single one of them works the same simple way. None of them do anything dramatic on their own. They support a body that's already getting some movement, even modest movement, on a fairly regular basis. The drinks that truly help are those a person consistently makes week after week, rather than a single bottle bought and forgotten. That's the secret, if there is one. Consistency disguised as a recipe. So here's the question. Which of these have you already been drinking without realizing it was doing this kind of work? And which one are you going to try first? Tell us in the comments. If this practical, no-nonsense approach to eating well as you age is helpful, subscribe. We release a new video like this every week. See you in the next video.